Welcome, everybody, to Gymnastics Mindset Academy podcast for the coaches. And this is Coach Stacie. I'm here with Coach Allie, and we are working this month on how to create powerful fuel. So, powerful fuel comes from the emotions that you have and how they fuel your body to take action. So, if you didn't listen to last week, this week is building on last week. So, go back, listen to last week first, then come here. Because this is basically kind of part two. So today we are going to talk about how to process an emotion through. Here's the biggest key. The reason we stopped with allow emotions last week is in order to process an emotion through, you have to be willing that the emotion will last as long as it needs to. Because as soon as you're like, I got to process that emotion so that I can stop feeling it, you're resisting the emotion and pushing that beach ball back down under the water. So we want you to first learn the skill of just identifying emotions and just allowing them to be there. Then you can move on to processing emotions. So coaches, for now, I just want you to think about you learning this. If you're thinking about how am I going to teach this to the kids, like, we're going to be honest, we did months of training on like how to teach this to kids, and we've had years of experience doing it. This is one of the things that it's going to be best for you actually just send them over to our Instagram, have them go through some of our trainings, have them go, actually join our program in order to process their emotions. I am going to give you some tips of like how you can do it, but if you learn it for yourself, it just rubs off on them. Mm-hmm. So I want you to learn it first, and then at the end, we'll talk about how you teach it.
And I just want to point out that going back to the first podcast, you're going to have to do over and over again, because the amount of girls that like understand allowing an emotion and then they get to this skill and all they want to do is get rid of the feeling. They'll get back to this like, I tried processing my emotion, Allie, but then the fear wouldn't go away. And I was like, okay, well, it sounds like we were processing it to get rid of it and not to just like let it be there and then move on,
Yeah.
And so just being aware of that coming up, it's so easy even for us to do in times of like, I'm just going to process this. Like, and then you're like, in this, like, almost like I'm going to get rid of it way. And just being like, oh yeah, that is not the purpose. So take it easy on yourself. You can always go back to just allowing. And then this is just the next step once you're more comfortable with it.
Yeah. So to process an emotion, basically you're giving your brain a break from focusing on the thought, and you're refocusing all of your mental attention to the physicality of the emotion. Emojis represent emotions because most of us tend to feel emotions in similar ways. And so what we want to do is we want to move the brain from focusing on the thought to just focusing on the physicality of the emotion. It gives your brain a break, and it lets your body just like let all those hormones, those chemical things like process and pass through. So we use an acronym called NOW, which we started the first step last week with the allow an emotion. But Allie, you just want to review the N?
Yes. Now is name it. Okay. So we tend to have like a little bank of like 10 emotions that we think that we feel.
I started with 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Happy, sad, angry, right? Like you can like name the main ones, the ones that you see all the time, right? But we experience like thousands of different emotions. And so the idea here is to just start naming and identifying what the emotions are and getting very specific, because there are differences between stress and anxiety, between hopeful and happy, between some of those more intermediate emotions is what I like to say, because the ultimate goal is to create powerful fuel, right? And those big emotions like excited is going to be a lot of fuel, a lot of positive energy towards your goals. But if you were excited 24/7, you would like explode, right? Like you have to have some of these intermediate emotions that still are maybe giving energy, right? Or taking energy, but not at the far extremes, and able to utilize those and be in that area, identifying them is going to be really, really, really important. And so naming it is going to be just the first start. Print out big emotions lists. We have some that we provide, but you can also Google some emotions lists and really just go through them, read through them, give yourself some experience in naming the emotion.
Yeah.
Okay. The O, Stacie. So you named it.
So you named it, and then open up and observe it. So I'm going to open up to it. I'm going to let it be there. It's not a problem. And then I'm going to observe how it feels physically in my body. So I'm going to observe, like most of the time it's kids start by observing, or people start by observing the like my hands feel sweaty. That's a good start, but you want to actually turn internal. Like, so do a body scan. Where do I feel it physically in my body? Most feelings are kind of in the core and in our throat, or maybe the back of the neck. Like, do I feel it in my chest? Do I feel it in my stomach? Do I feel it in my shoulders, in my throat, on my temples? Like, what part of my body am I feeling the emotion first? Then we like to just ask some questions to help your brain wrap around the physicality of how that feels. Is it hard or is it soft? Is it moving or is it still? If it's moving, is it fast or is it slow? What color is it? Now, there's no real answers to those. It doesn't look like anything, right? Keep looking down at my stomach because that's where I always have my emotions, but it doesn't look like anything. But you're just trying to help your brain wrap around the idea of what the physicality of this emotion feels like. So you're just going to observe it, and you just like explain it to your brain. It feels like this, tense feeling in my throat, this tightness. It feels a little bit like I can't breathe. I feel it in my stomach. It feels like a clenching, or I feel like it's moving really fast in my stomach, and giving it a color. My favorite, this never happened before. A girl that I was coaching last week was like, I was like, what color is it? She's like, it's just a rainbow. It's all these different swirlies all together. Cause it was like, I think she was stressed. It's like, it's just everything. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, actually, that's a pretty good description of it. So then W, Allie.
Okay, so W is witnessing, and witnessing it being in your body, moving through your body, and ultimately relaxing and decreasing out of that feeling. And so witnessing is the idea of it's fine that it's there. It is okay that it's there. And we're going to breathe into the emotion, and we're going to feel it as it moves. So what I mean by that is, my easiest example for that one is stress. So I identify this like tight, strong feeling in my shoulders. And as I notice it being there, if I breathe into it and allow it to be there, my shoulders they'll slowly start to relax a little bit. My jaw will loosen. I can kind of feel it move from my shoulders to my neck and almost like out of my face. And that's really what it is. It's just like witnessing it move and relax through and out your body. And we do use some breathing to help them do this. So like Stacie said that you give it a color. One of my favorite things to do is have them breathe in, and then when they breathe out, to breathe out that color. So if they identified stress as a rainbow, they're literally going to breathe out a rainbow. And it sounds so silly, but it gives them like this visual of like seeing it move and leave their body in this really, really unique way. And so that's part of it, is just like breathing through there. Belly breathing is another one that we teach that can allow them to relax into that, because sometimes when you're tense, it kicks in and allows you to relax into the emotion, which lets it settle down, and you just witness it. Now there's no particular time that it takes for this to happen. You just can be in this W part until you're ready to be out, or until you felt like it is relaxed. Stacie, about how long does it normally take?
Well, so they say it usually takes 90 seconds. And I've found that to be about true. Really intense emotions tend to take a little bit longer. And then it will just dissipate. Either it will just kind of start loosening and then it will go out, or it'll just be gone, or it'll move down. That's why we witness it, because sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. So, and we just kind of watch it until it's done. But we're not talking about sitting here for 10 minutes. It's usually about 90 seconds. It is crazy how fast it is, like how much we have done to run away from, like how much sugar have I eaten because I'm sad, when if I took 90 seconds to process the emotion, like I'd have been fine. So it's pretty crazy how quick it actually is.
It's just chalking up for your next turn.
Yeah.
Getting a
Once
drink of
kids get
water.
good at this, we teach them that, like, you can do it while you're at the water fountain. This doesn't have to look like I close my eyes and I zen into my body. You just literally, like, I'm feeling this way. I notice it feels this, and I just watch it and let it move through.
And here's the deal though. To get to that point, you have to practice it. And never will you ever be like, man, I can't wait to process this negative emotion. Like that really just doesn't happen. So I just want to point that out. Like, getting resistance for this and like not wanting to do it, and kids be like resisting doing it, that's just going to continue to be normal. Even Stacie and I do it to each other, like, oh, you want to process that? And we're like, no, not really. And then we do it and we're like, okay, I'm so glad. But like, you're not going to have a kid come up to you and be like, I'm going to try processing my emotion today and I can't wait. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to set the expectations there. This is going to be something that you continue to just remind them of trying. If they've learned how to do it from us and they know how to do it, just little reminders of just like, this would be a great time to maybe breathe into that. This would be a great time to just experience that, and just things like that to continue to encourage it. And like Stacie did say in the last one, doing it yourself so they can watch you do that over and over and over again is going to be one of the main keys to success.
Yeah, I just taught this at a coaches congress, and at Congress, and one of the coaches asked, they were like, how do we do this in the midst of everything? It's like, you actually need to practice doing it at home first, or doing it in an environment where you have a little space. And I've found that when I practice it on a regular basis and I practice processing different emotions, you can process an emotion just by bringing up a memory. Any memory will create the emotion again that is still there, and you can then process the emotion through. And so I'll practice processing. Either at the end of the day, I'll be like, okay, what's stuck in me, and then I'll process that, or I'll just practice processing different emotions, because when you know what it feels like in your body, it's then way easier and faster to do it when there's a lot of distractions around you. So I would start by doing this at home yourself. That's it. Don't worry about teaching your gymnast this yet, but I do want to teach you a few simple ones that you can do with your gymnasts right from the outset. So, one simple way is releasing the emotion. So, you're just going to have them think about the thought that's causing, like, the thing that happened that's causing the feeling. They don't even have to name the feeling, just the thing that happened that's causing the feeling. And you have them close their eyes and just say, like, I just want you to watch it like it's a movie. And then cause that thought to be, or cause that feeling as intensely as you can for 3 seconds. And the end of 3 seconds, okay, you're done with that. And then breathe in, breathe out, and think, release, release. So this one it's just a different process for we in our program. We have like 4 or 5 different processes that we can use to help process an emotion. I'm taking another program that teaches this, and she has 15 different processes on that you can use to process an emotion. Some of them are physical. There's lots of different ways to do it. So the now one tends to be very thorough. This release one can be really helpful to do in the moment. So you just literally will do it together. I want you to think of a thought or something happened that bothered you in the last couple of days. And I want you to let yourself feel it as intensely as possible. And you're done with that. And now breathe in. And then out, release. One more. Release. And then you're done. So that can be a simple one that you can use to help them actually process through. Next week we are going to talk about the opposite of what we just did. So this one is about processing your emotions. And the reason you want to process your emotion is it's so much easier to then turn to a powerful emotion when you've let this one go all the way through. But you don't have to. You can have both. And we're going to talk about how next week. So make sure and tune in. See you there. Bye.